Howdy y'all, I'm Mickey. I think I debated it in my time capsule video, but I decided that yes, actually, the best way forward with my channel is another get to know me tag. I did one for my 1 year on YouTube, like 5 years ago, back when I had 33 subscribers, I think I said. And while this isn't any sort of anniversary for the channel, this is, to me, kind of like a rebirth for the channel, where I'm pre-filming things so that I will actually have content to put out somewhat regularly. A new start with a method that I hopefully can keep up with, along with like the rest of life. And y'all can get to know a little bit more about who it is that's over here chatting at ya on the other side of the screen. I didn't take the exact questions that I did on my last get to know me tag. I maybe should have. I forgot that I had already done one until I was already done with my questions list. Instead, I just took random get to know me questions. I grabbed them, I put them together into a list. Most of it is questions from Emma Chamberlain's get to know me video from like 7 years ago, except I cut a bunch of the questions out. Because a bunch of the questions are like about your love life. This isn't a dating app. Or a bunch of them are about school, which I am not in. And any questions that just weren't relevant. Instead of being like, well, this doesn't really apply to me, it's just not here. I just didn't take it. And I ended up with 30 questions that I wrote down. I got them here. If it's on Flimsy, it's official. And I'm just gonna go through the list. First one, easy start. What is your name? Yeah, I'm Mickey, short for Gimmick. Just kidding, it's short for Michael. But imagine if my name was Gimmick Chaos. I feel like it suits me. Which rolls into our second question here. What is your middle name? Chaos, which is not a bit, or is my longest running bit I have. But yep, easy enough, Mickey Chaos. It's the name of my channel. I combined 3 and 4 here, which is where are you from and where do you live, because the answer for both is Florida. Cat tax, because he was attacking my tripod again. I've lived in Florida my whole life. What do you do for a living? I wish I had something exciting to be like, I travel, I get to see the world, I'm an international super spy. But no, it's food service. Not a bad job, just not a very exciting answer. This next question is just, what is your favorite? And I put every favorite that they listed in the list in one question. So, what is your favorite color? Blue, specifically like cyan, neon colors. I like bright things. Food, empanadas, specifically the ones my mom makes, which I really need to learn how to make for myself. Drink, I still can't tell if this is about alcohol or like a normal drink. My favorite drink is cherry Coke, specifically from the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines. And if we are going alcoholic, vodka Coke with grenadine. Very diverse tastes, I know. Snack, Vienna fingers, they're a Keebler cookie, or a like fruity ice cream, or just fruit. I like fruity stuff. Holiday, it's still a toss-up between Halloween and Christmas for me. Halloween, it has so much fun to it. I love the spooky stuff, I love the atmosphere. I'm kind of sad because my neighborhood here doesn't really do a lot of Halloween stuff, at least not outside. I know last year no one came trick-or-treating. I don't know, it feels like there's not really a lot of Halloween here. I still love doing what Halloween stuff I can though. I love Halloween Horror Nights, I love doing Halloween things, I'm going to a Halloween party. I make sure I celebrate. I just feel like it doesn't feel like everyone else's as much as I would like us to. Where's the spooky? I've seen like one jack-o'-lantern. The other one is Christmas, which I love so much. I'm already feeling the Christmas spirit in my heart. Mariah Carey is trying to come out. She's not allowed until November 3rd, but it is there, waiting. It's kind of weird because I feel like Christmas spirit, like, I haven't felt it the way that I did when I was a kid, obviously because I was a kid, and now I'm a grown-up who has to pay taxes. But that idyllic, perfect, like, Christmas season, I want to try and achieve it again as much as possible in adulthood. I already have bits of it in my heart, so I'm hoping if I, like, hold on to that and force myself to go out and do Christmas things, to go find the Christmas things, and stay out and active in that, maybe I can rebuild the Christmas spirit for myself, brick by brick. This Christmas will be magical. It doesn't have a choice. Anyway, favorite pastime. Walking. I like going on walks a lot. I usually have too much energy to just sit around for too long. So I like to pop my earbuds in, listen to music, and just daydream and go walking and go finding little critters on my walks. I know a lot of people don't use Snapchat anymore, but I still post my little creature finds every day on there. Hint, hint, if you want to see daily bunnies and turtles and lizards and ducklings or whatever, I will find them and they will be photographed. Other than walking, I really like reading. I've been trying to get more into reading books again and not just 50,000 word long fanfics. I'm considering 2024 a success because I have actually read real published novels. Favorite sport? Hockey. It's about the only one I follow. Music genre. I will listen to most music. I can find something enjoyable in most of it. My favorite? Show tunes. I don't know what I'm hesitating for. It's show tunes. I spend most of my time listening to music, listening to something from some form of a musical. Continuing off of that, favorite musician. Queen is pretty up there. I do like Queen. I have Queen music on vinyl along with my Broadway records. I like to listen to it while I'm bustling around cleaning the living room and whatever. Modern musicians, I do like Olivia Rodrigo's music. I have listened to Sour all the way through a kind of absurd amount of times. And I did listen to Guts the moment it dropped. Favorite book? This question is fun because I feel like the answer to this one changes like every year. I read new things. I'm like, OMG, this is my new favorite book. I guess I'll give this one kudos for being my favorite book for over a year. And that book is... there was a little wyvern with a button horde blocking the way there. My favorite book is Being Blocked by a Little Bellhop. He tried to take my coat. I don't have one. I'll make sure to give him a tip, though. My favorite book is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I do have both of them here, because the sequel just came out. Something about found family stories that are specifically like the weirdos who don't fit in with greater society, finding each other and loving each other, not in spite of their differences, but loving each other with their differences and for their differences. It gets me every time. And I do typically like stories that are pretty happy, usually. And I just feel like the Cerulean Chronicles really hit a lot of the stuff that I typically like in books. I can't stop thinking about those happy little gay men. They consume my every waking thought. Favorite movie? Speaking of found family stories where you are accepted for who you are and loved for who you are even if you're different from the people around you. Ta-da! I love my Luca Funko. I feel like I don't get to... He sits in my corner. I don't get to show him off often enough. It's Luca. My favorite movie is Luca, which I feel is not a shock to anyone who knows me in person, since I watched it 4 times in 1 week in January of this year. And I rewatched it in theaters when it had its theatrical debut this summer. Twice. And I've watched it other times this year, aside from those 2 bouts. I really like Luca. Luca is my favorite movie, and I unfortunately cannot like things normally. Oh, are we on the last favorites thing here? I feel like I've been doing favorites for an hour. Favorite shows. I wonder if that whole found families for weirdos thing is gonna come up again. Of course it is. The Owl House. Love the Owl House so much. The Owl House is another one of those things that it was kind of just everything I wanted, except shorter than I wanted. I also really like Hell of a Boss. Jack and I have videos on my channel here of us rewatching Hell of a Boss and chatting about that, because I do really love that show, and I love talking about it, and I love making everyone I know watch it. So excited to see John Waters in it on Halloween. And then the two other like big shows that had lasting impacts on me, also cartoons. Spoiler. Technically, I guess more than two shows, but my brain's kind of classified groupings of shows as being the same thing to it. One being the Clone Wars and Bad Batch, which are technically continuations of each other. The clones, the Star Wars clones. And last, but definitely not least, DuckTales and Darkwing Duck. I love the Disney birds, and I have thought of them at least once every single day for the past 6 years. DuckTales 2017, for some reason, fundamentally reshaped who I am as a person, which is fine by me. I love those little ducks. And that's all of my favorites. Huzzah! We made it through. I didn't realize how many favorites they had put there, and how many I'd written down. 6. What's your star sign? Next question. What is your star sign? I'm an Aquarius. Like, a pretty stereotypical Aquarius. 7. What is something you are talented at? Yapping. I am a professional yapper, don't you worry. I don't think it's a talent, maybe, but I'm funny. I'm good at making people laugh in person. And I like that. I like making other people laugh. I like making people happy. 8. What is something you wish you were talented at? I wish I knew how to play the piano. I've always thought it'd be nice to be able to play the piano. I used to mess around with my grandparents' piano when I went over to their house, especially around the holidays, and I had a little electric keyboard that could sit in your lap, and I would mess around with it, and I don't know what happened to it. I have books of sheet music for piano playing. I just don't have a piano or much experience with them. I don't know, it's one of those things that I keep saying one day. Are you competitive? Kind of, to an extent. If there are no stakes, if it's funny, if it's all in good fun, then sure, yes. And I'll get real into it too. Jack and I, we aren't competing against each other in Mario Kart. We've teamed up because we are competing against Isabelle. She is our main enemy. I will fight those little CPU characters all the time, all day, every race. But only in things where it's good fun. I don't like stressful competition. Describe yourself in a single phrase or sentence. A nerdy gay who never shuts up. I feel like it gets the point across. What are some of your bad habits? I simultaneously sleep too much and don't sleep enough. My sleep schedule is so bad. I'll go stretches where my insomnia's really bad, and I just cannot go to bed at night until the sun is already rising in my window. And then a few days in, it will all hit me at once, and I'll sleep for 14 hours. There is a between in there somewhere. I just don't know how to consistently access it. What are your favorite things about yourself? I don't know how to word this. I like that I'm a nice person. Or I try to be, at least. I don't know, the world can be pretty cruel and hard, and my kindness and softness that I desperately hold on to, in spite of that, is something that I'm proud of. It's something that I really value. What is on the top of your bucket list? Alton Towers. I want to go to Alton Towers so bad. I kind of want a whole Europe trip, and by a whole Europe trip, I mean mostly Scotland and England. I want to see the Highlands. I want to see the nice cows. I want to go around London and find all the fun filming locations and all the spooky locations and the little fisherman market where the anglerfish ask for cigarettes. But I specifically want to go to Alton Towers and ride all the rides and have my little yellow, definitely not joyous congregation of the smiling god fit that fits with the Smiler aesthetic. And then I can stay at least one night in that hotel in the Smiler themed room. And then I can ride the Smiler. I wonder what ride I am most excited to do there. Listen, they made a ride and it has lore and it's about cults and it's shown with yellow and smiling and spirals. It was made for me. And one day I am going to be the happiest Mickey there ever was walking around that spooky little theme park. What are 3 long-term goals? I have difficulty grasping the concept of a future before me, mostly because I don't have any set life goals. Like, you know, younger ages, there's, you know, school, and then there's like middle school, high school, college, young adulthood. There's life chunks that you know what to expect from it, and you can be in anticipation for that. I have no idea what I think 30s holds. By that time, you're just a full adult, and what's happening there is up to you. I've thought about maybe getting a master's and going into, like, archiving work. Hopefully I would not face any terrible repercussions for my name in an archive. Spooky entities, please don't. So that's 2 goals. We're counting those as separate goals. And we'll say the third one is to keep slaying. What are your short-term goals? Live, laugh, love. Short-term, let's stick with the short-term. Reading more? I'm kind of already on my way to that one, but reading actual books. I'm only on my 3rd book of the year because I got back into reading actual books at the end of September. Technically, my book talk still lists my goal for that as being 25. I'm not hitting 25. We'll say my, like, goal is 5, and my stretch goal is 10. Another short-term goal, I'm really close to 150,000 likes on TikTok, so I'll say that's my second one, is hitting that preferably by the end of this month, but definitely by the end of the year. That's such a nice little round number to try and hit. And I guess the third short-term goal, I don't know if it's short-term or long-term, but I'm thinking through the end of the year as being short-term over the next 2 months. Just continuing to have fun with my friends, continuing to stay, like, active and present in my life the way that I've been doing this year. And the goal is to keep doing that, keep having fun, keep enjoying the life that I've got. I guess that one's short-term and long-term. Whatever. 16, what is your biggest accomplishment? Getting all of my friends to watch Hell of a Boss, so now I have a ton of people that I can talk to about it. Not actually. I mean, yes, actually, I did do that, but that's not actually my goal, I'm gonna say. What's a real accomplishment I've gotten? Oh, yeah, my bachelor's, my degree. I was a first-gen graduate. That's one. Yeah, we'll stick with that one. What is the last book you read? The last book I read was A Sweet Sting of Salt. I picked this up along with my copy of Somewhere Beyond the Sea when I broke my book buying ban. It's a sapphic retelling of the Selkie wife story. And I love lesbians, and I love Selkies, and so I had to have it. And I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. What is your favorite fairy tale? I still missed one of the favorites in the favorites section. Oh well. This one has a bit of a longer answer anyway, so it's fine. I mean, the answer itself it's Peter Pan, but not just Peter and Wendy and Peter in Kensington Gardens, both of which I do like and I read, but also just retellings of Peter Pan. I absolutely love reading retellings of Peter Pan or variations of the Peter Pan story, as long as they keep the magic there, or at least some magical elements. I've learned that I'm not so much a fan of Peter Pan retellings that are completely like the real world. I have read a few Peter Pan books in my days, including right now. I'm actually right now reading Lost in the Neverwoods, which is a Peter Pan book by Aidan Thomas. But I've read a few Peter Pan books. I'll sometimes go through periods of just reading various Peter Pan books. I have so many left to read too. Popular story. So far, my favorite Peter Pan books I've read have been Peter Darling and The Child Thief, which are wildly different books from each other. What is your favorite quote? I feel like I nailed my lifetime quote that I was going to stick with as my motivational quote for the rest of my life. In 8th grade, made a little graduation gift for our middle school where each student wrote a quote they liked and it got like plastered into the table. And I chose, within our limitations, there is no limit to how beautiful we can become. Which, unsurprisingly, is a Welcome to Night Vale quote. Night Vale has a lot of really good quotes to choose from, but that one stuck with me. Clearly, because it's over 10 years later and it's still there. Who's left the most impact on your life? My mom raised me, so that's a pretty big deal. I'd say that was pretty fundamental to me being me. My mom, my little sister, just like the very nature of being an older sibling. Dee Dee. I'm not quite sure when this video is going to be posted, because it's not going to be now. Not to date this video, but it's going to be a little bit from now. But I think it's going to be somewhere within a week of me and Dee Dee having been friends for 17 years. Oh my gosh, Dee Dee and I have been friends for 17 years. Yeah, I think outside of family, it's gotta be her. What app do you use the most? TikTok. It's gotta be TikTok. I have a feeling a lot of people, it's TikTok. It's so easy to just zone out and just swipe for hours. I've been looking at the funny videos, look up, it's been 2 hours since I went on my phone. If you could give your younger self any advice, what would it be? There's two questions here. What advice would I give? And what advice would I follow? Because my immediate instinct would be to tell my younger self to be more social, to be more out there, to put myself out there more. I didn't really start, like, regularly hanging out with people and just talking to people and being more social until I was in my 20s. I really just kind of stuck to Dee Dee. And my immediate instinct for advice would be to tell my younger self to get out there more. My younger self would not do that. My panic disorder and depression kind of ran my life in high school. They were in charge. I was just there for the ride. Along with others, at least I had the words for those ones. At least I was aware I had those. I thought I had generalized anxiety disorder. It was worse. But I knew about them. The neurodivergency was more of a surprise there. Advice. What advice would I listen to? I would tell 14-year-old me to just cut my hair off. My crush at the time told me I would look bad with short hair. And so I didn't cut my hair off for 2 years, even though I wanted to. That's my advice that I might have followed. Just do it. Just cut your hair. The next question kind of goes along with that as well. What is one thing you know now that you wish you had as a kid? Along with my I didn't know what else was going on with my brain, I did. I suspected kind of young. But I was also kind of convinced that I was just, like, a terrible person. And anytime I tried to look into, like, neurodivergency, I always went into, like, the worst possible route because I had difficulty comprehending emotions. I was freaking myself out. More than that, I guess this would be advice, but also things I wish I knew. Something I wish I had done as a kid is I wish that when I was 11 and I wanted to switch uniforms at my school because my school had gendered uniforms and I did not want to wear the uniform that I was wearing. I wanted to wear the other one. I wish that I had mentioned that to my parents. I didn't because our uniforms had to be like a specific branded uniform. The tartan pattern was very specific. And the shirts and stuff had the school logo embroidered on them. You had to buy the school-specific costumes, and it was money. They were expensive. Even though I think we got most of our secondhand or discounted, it was still, you know, money. And I didn't want to stress my parents out with money, and I didn't want to try and explain to them why I wanted to switch my uniform when I didn't even really know myself why I wanted to. I just, at the time, didn't have the language to express myself and conceptualize how I felt and why I felt that way about these uniforms and how I was presenting myself to the world. Get out of here. I do now, obviously, but I was 11, and even if they had said no, which would have made sense, it was a Catholic school, no, if no other reason than to, like, protect me from a school that would not have been thrilled by something like that. But even if they had said no, I wish I had brought it up just to kind of have that be, like, in their minds. Like, hey, at 11, our kid mentioned this and started specifically wearing overly baggy jackets, even in the summer, to hide their body. And at 11, they're doing this, and at 8, they were asking us about trans people. They were asking questions about trans people, and like a year before that, they brought up trans people unprompted at our dinner table discussion, and maybe there's a reason that this subject keeps coming up. I've just always kind of wished that I had brought it up in a personal way before life got carried away. Let's get out of that emotional sphere there. Next question, how tall are you? Short. But I'm taller than Jack, so a win is a win. Question 25. Any pets? I have my beautiful baby boy, Anakin, here. He's our little baby. He likes to come crash my YouTube videos by trying to attack my tripod. And then there's like a bunch of animals in my parents' house. But Anakin is mine and Jack's, and lives here. What sports do you play or have you played? The main, like, active extracurricular I did was soccer. But I also briefly did basketball, dance with tap and ballet, and gymnastics twice. Never stuck with any of them for very long. By middle school, I had moved on from active ones, but I was still I did extracurriculars. I did Mathletes, Battle of the Books, Brain Brawl, and a club that did charity work, essentially. I was always doing something. And then in high school, I got the gay club, and I stuck with that one. 27. Who are some of your favorite YouTubers? Dan and Phil is the big one. I'm a gay person who still uses Tumblr. Duh. I really liked Achievement Hunter for several years. Rest in pieces. I still sometimes watch some of the videos I didn't get around to watching before they shut down. And I still watch some of the stuff they do now, independently. And I do like watching Danny Mata's reactions to shows that I'm particularly attached to. Like, even if his seeming neutrality towards Rain Whispers, who is everything to me, does break my heart. At least we agree that Ida's hot. 28. Favorite childhood memory. I don't know if it's my favorite out of everything that ever happened in my childhood, but a very vivid, distinct one to me is the summer where I was 11. I went with my cousins to my grandparents' lake house for a bit over the summer. They announced after they had taken me there and I'd been there for a bit that it was actually going to be longer than I was originally told. It was going to be a longer trip than expected. Like, there was like confusion and like kind of stressful things, I imagine, for the adults around this, but I was 11 and I was chilling. We weren't worried about schoolwork. We didn't bring it with us. I think I may have brought summer reading with me. I had books, at least, with me. But we weren't worried about schoolwork. We weren't worried about, like, anything, really. We would wake up, we would eat breakfast that my grandfather cooked, and then we would all kind of just rush into our bathing suits as fast as we could, and see how much time we could spend in the lake. Our only concern was making sure we didn't get sunburned. We had so much fun. We would swim, we would jump off of the deck, we would ride in the boat, we would ride on jet skis. At night, we would go up onto the deck on top of the boathouse and just look around, and we could see so many stars there. And we could see all of these fireflies flying around at night. There used to be so many fireflies. I don't remember the last time I've seen a firefly in person. There used to be so many. I don't know, it felt like it was pulled from a movie. Like the idealistic world that the character is living in before something throws them out of it. Like Teen Beach Movie, how they just kind of chilled and surfed every day until they got pulled into a movie. And on top of all of that, it feels to me like that was kind of the last time I remember going and doing something and just having fun and not being stressed or bogged down by something. It was kind of the last hurrah of that childhood innocence before life happened. 29. How would you describe your fashion sense? In a typical day-to-day outfit, I'm usually just wearing a baggy t-shirt or hoodie and sweatpants. Like, I just love my sweatpants so much, and I could get other flowy pants because I'm not really a fan of wearing jeans. But then flowy pants either don't have pockets or their pockets aren't secure and your stuff's just kind of falling out of them. I don't know. I have more diversity in the hot months when I can wear my 2 pairs of shorts that I wear in addition to my sweatpants for a little variety. The problem is I have a bunch of clothes that I can like picture the outfits I would wear them in, and I want to wear them, and I want to have like aesthetics that I kind of follow, little fashion aesthetics, putting effort in, but it's just so easy to fall back on the same 4 clothing items every time. Having a clothing aesthetic and getting dressed in those clothing aesthetics and looking like this with my little button up more often would be so much easier if it wasn't just so compelling to stick with the same thing over and over again. How would I describe my ideal fashion sense? Michael distortion. Clowncore. Every so often, I would like to bring in an academia. But for the most part, think, does it have one of my guys on it, or does it look like something that little yellow door would approve of? That is likely what I am being drawn to. And we're on to 30, the last question I have written down here. What is your favorite restaurant? Like, I think I wrote this down because it was like one of the last questions they had, and I wanted the even 30, but I said I wasn't going to choose any where my answer was going to be some variation of this doesn't apply. But here I am. It's not that I don't have a favorite restaurant, because I did. I very much did. It just closed. It is no longer. My favorite restaurant was this seafood place that was just absolutely full of taxidermy. Just absolutely full of rare and exotic taxidermy. You would walk in the front door and be greeted by a taxidermy giraffe. That was my favorite restaurant, and basically where we went to eat for every celebration and birthday I had until I moved to Orlando. I love creepy oddity type stuff. One of my favorite parts in the House in the Cerulean Sea is the part where Arthur was actually stricter than my parents in real life, because Arthur wouldn't let Lucy display a skull he found in the woods, versus my parents, who, when I found a ditch full of bones, told me I was only allowed to bring one of them home, and then I brought it home and cleaned it and bleached it and whatever, got it ready for display, and then just had an animal skull chilling in my room for a bit. I have like bug taxidermy. I don't know how you would describe it, but I have ones that I did myself over on my shelf over there. We have my butterfly and a Beauty and the Beast-esque holder here, where it's a butterfly on a twig over a dried rainbow rose, and an urn. And then down here, these shelves really need to be dusted, but dragonfly on a branch over a water scene. Yeah, aside from my bug displays, that restaurant, I loved the vibes of it. I loved the atmosphere of it. And the food was good too. It was the perfect restaurant for me, and I miss it all the time. As I said, that was the last question I had, so that is all of the get to know me questions I have here for today. Little fun tidbits about me so that you watching have a better idea maybe of who it is that you're watching. I'm comfortable being in front of a camera again, but I am still so bad at outros. That's me. If you related to any of the anecdotes I said or agreed with any of my favorites on anything, let me know in the comments. And if there was anything not too crazy that you wanted to know in addition to my fun little copy and pasted Q&A, leave those down too. I did watch bits and pieces of my old Get to Know Me video from 5 years ago. I think it's so interesting how my answers have changed, but how many just didn't. I see my 19-year-old self and my current self as such different people. But at the root of it all, it's me. It's still me. You know, despite everything, it's still you. And it sure is. Curious which of my answers will stay the same 5 years from now and which ones will be completely different. Who knows? Not me. That's for the future. For now, this is it. Ciao.